I'm gonna smoke this real quick.
Sure. Okay. Hold on.
We'll record it anyways, and then maybe we'll use it.
Yeah, then you'll forget that I'm recording, and everybody will be nice and relaxed. So.
That's all. Just start by asking these gentlemen who are sitting here at this table drinking their beer who they are, what they do, what instruments you play, or what is your weapon of choice, and who are you?
I'm Casey Wright. I play drums. Dr. Bot in the research. I also play with a reggae band in town here. And I'm a school teacher from a daytime gig, 5th grade.
My name's Travis, aka Dr. Bot. Play trumpet. Weapons of choice are a lot of effects, a Leslie rotating speaker cabinet, and beer.
The rocket fuel for champions.
My name is Gerard, and I was trained on piano, but in the past 5 years have really gotten into electric, the whole electric side of music. So I've embraced the Fender Rhodes as my main weapon of choice. Actually, mine is not a Fender, it's the Rhodes, which they say is actually better.
Nice.
So how did you guys get started? How did you guys meet? I think we were talking earlier about that outside before we started.
Yeah, like you were saying, outside, we picked him up at we went to see a reggae show at Sunset in the Grill, and he was filling in for the drummer.
Right.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then we started bringing him to sessions on Sundays.
It was the
Open
next
session.
day, actually.
Yeah, it was the next day, actually. Yeah, it was a Saturday night, and then he came on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it worked out awesome.
And Travis and I here met. We met each other through a now defunct arts organization here in town, but which had a wonderful space up in all places. The Continent, which people in Columbus know here is a very dated and washed out retail area. Anyway, I was doing shows there. I run a series here in town called the Icebox, which is dedicated to improvised music and experimental music.
Okay.
And I was having shows out there, and someone actually suggested that we should start having our own improvised music sessions. So we started doing that and became quite an active thing. Usually having at least one session a week. And Travis just kind of got involved, by course of seeing those shows and seeing where he could create in a similar vein.
So, why ultimately? One of the questions here I've been given to ask you is why music? I think collectively speaking, there's a lot of formats to approach in this world, especially there's so many ways to try to get your message out, and I guess music seems to be one of them. So I think collectively it's important to ask any musician or whatever, why music, why in the first place? Why not poetry or...
Well, music to all three of us is a passion of ours. He's been playing piano for many years, playing drums for a long time, trained. I've been doing, guitar and trumpet, guitar 13 years, trumpet up there to about 8, and also it's just the easiest way for me personally speaking to express myself. I just hear music in my head or sounds and things, I gotta get them out.
I mean, it's like instinct, honestly. It just, it woke up in me one day, and it's been there ever since. But, and also, it's one thing that comes from an emotional standpoint to me, just totally easy.
Right.
I mean, it's never had any kind of...
Yeah, it just flows. You feel it.
Yeah, I think on that note, music for me is actually like the perfect art form because it's not just mental,
Right.
It's not just cerebral or intellectual. It's also incredibly physical, especially if you really like to dig into your instrument and really kind of express yourself physically that way.
Yeah.
By kind of trying to become one with your instrument. and really pushing it to the limit.
And it works both sides of the brains.
Yeah.
So both sides of the brain.
What is your process musically? Like, how do you guys get together? And 'cause I'm sure, I mean, a lot goes into this. You guys sound very, very, very intently in tune with your art, and you're very passionate about it. So, I mean, obviously, there's got to be a process.
It's all about listening and like looking at each other, pretty much. I mean,
We jump into it.
yeah, we just
when
dive in
it's
head
time to
first.
go.
I think
That's how we do it.
not like we don't tell each other you gotta play this, you gotta solo over this, you gotta, do whatever. There's none of it. It's just completely let go, but be in touch with, something really deep, I guess, and be in the moment.
I mean, we don't talk about things per se, but I think because we all have like a certain amount of background, trying to improvise ourselves and do experimental music. One of the first things I actually heard of Casey actually was this cassette tape he had done in the middle of a car wash, and he was incorporating that into the overall the sonic impression
Landscape.
of his recording. I don't remember what you were playing, but it was
It was
some very ethereal
synth,
sounds.
Some synth over top of a car wash.
Like a musical collage.
Yeah, sonic collage if you'd like to call it that. But and I've been doing that for years. I mean,
He's got a great new one where his baby daughter's screaming over a death metal tune. It's great. It works
yeah, you guys
perfect.
heard that. Yeah, you guys heard that. But yeah, I mean, you pull chunks from here and you pull chunks from there and put them together. It's like Legos or something. I don't know.
How would you guys identify your audience? What would they, what type of people would they be?
Diverse people. Anybody really. I'm not looking for a scene. I'm not looking for, who's dressing in what, who's drinking what, who's listening to what. It's more just coming and being an open palette of people and,
Right.
and everyone getting to know each other and know different sides of life instead of I always go to this one bar and my favorite band plays there and everyone else is like the same. It's the same stuff all over every time you go there and just I guess with this music you can't pinpoint it, so really you can't pinpoint who the band's gonna be.
And I mean, yes, and with most free forms of music, it takes a little getting used to. I think. I don't know. I mean, some people might hear it and they're like, well, if we're in that mood, they might hear it and hear something conventional that would pull them in,
Right.
which would draw them into the more out
Do you
there
think
stuff.
that's,
Yeah.
do you think that being conventional is necessary?
It's something that like I really I fought against conventionality for a while,
Right.
and which felt good, for when I was doing that. But lately, within the last year and a half, I've been feeling where I can take something that's regular or conventional, and what I add to it, sonically with, like I said, with the ambient stuff, you can kind of pull it into an experimental realm, and it has that conventionality to draw people in, but then it's not going to be set up formulaically,
Exactly.
with a verse chorus bridge structure. But it will have familiar elements that are warm yet those jagged bits of
Yeah.
improvisation that will scare off some people.
Kind of like nursery rhymes.
Yeah,
It's my Sharona,
yeah, exactly.